Well, welcome back to the Two Tone Report. I'm Ryan Smith. Guy to the right of me is Ethan Jacobs. We're finishing it up. Finishing up the Ratin rookie series here with these last three picks for the Tennessee Titans in the 2025 draft class. Finally putting the season behind us fully, of course, with the Super Bowl coming up in just a few days on Sunday. We'll talk about that as well. But first, to get to these rookies. And Ethan, God, you're ugly, dude. Why do I have to look at your face all the time?
What?
Let's
What
go.
do you mean?
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and dive into these rookies. Alrighty, we're back. You got the graphic to my left, over here to our left with these last couple of picks. I'm going to have to pull up their names. I think that tells you the impact that they made, except for one, except for Marcus Harris, who's in the middle. We'll talk about him in just a second. But just to start off, Jackson Slater being I think he was a fifth-round pick, I believe is when he was taken. Didn't see him take any snaps as far as I can tell. I didn't see any snaps pulled from PFF or anything like that, so I don't think he had
He
any
did.
meaningful. Oh, he did? Okay. Well,
Yeah, he did at the Jaguars game, I believe. Or it was the Saints. It was the Saints game or Jaguars game.
so late season.
Uh, yeah,
Oops.
he
Okay.
played. I think it was like 30 or 40 snaps, but not many.
Kind of expected for a guard offensive lineman that you take in the fifth round, right? I mean, it's not like we're expecting a whole lot from him here. I think the fact he didn't play, and I know you're going to mention this, the fact he didn't play a whole lot, that says something good about the offensive line at the very least. They stayed healthy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, this is like the one time ever we've drafted a rookie uh, on the line, and they weren't forced into a major role where they weren't ready for it. It's like the
Pretty
first
good.
time that's happened in like 4 years where we draft a developmental guy and he gets to
Develop.
learn and develop a little bit before we just completely cut him because he sucked in his first 10 games. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he played like 30 snaps. He's 6'3", 311.
It's a fifth
You
round
know,
pick
you
that didn't play a lot.
yeah, fifth round pick that didn't play a lot. But when he was out there, he wasn't horrible. He wasn't just complete disaster. He wasn't the greatest. I think he gave up one pressure, but it wasn't awful.
Yeah.
Um, and you hope to see as bad as Brian Callahan was as a head coach, and honestly as bad as the run game has been with Bill Callahan, the offensive line coach, coordinating that kind of stuff. Bill Callahan is still respected as one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. And you expect that under Bill Callahan, he at least experienced a lot of growth. And, this is a pretty deep room, learning under Kevin Zeitler as well, a 15-year vet. Did him a lot of good. This is a good thing that we didn't have to play him. This is a
Yeah.
great thing. Being honest, my rookie grade is undetermined. He literally didn't play. So, like, that's fine. It's
It's
not like he couldn't play. He just didn't play. He
yeah.
made,
I
he made
think
the team all year.
that's gonna be the theme kind of for this entire part of the episode because, like I said, we are going to talk about the Super Bowl here in just a little bit, but that's going to be the theme for two of these guys at the very least because they just didn't play a whole lot, or at least didn't play any meaningful snaps. I know with Kal-El, he played a lot of special team snaps, but outside of that, I think he got 3 carries for 7 yards. We'll skim over that, but yeah, I mean, it's same thing for me, undetermined, just because don't really know. They didn't play
And
enough to have anything there.
and we'll see. This is a good thing, Titans fans. This is a good thing he didn't get to play. It's a good thing you didn't get to hear his name in a bad way because there's been so many times where we've trotted some dude out there and he wasn't ready to play, and we'll put him at left tackle, and he'll suck. And it's like, what? This guy stinks. And it's like, yeah, he's a 7th round rookie. Duh. What are we talking about?
It's like
No,
I don't know what the expectation is here. It's not like when was the last time you've heard of a true late round guy? Because we just got done talking about the fourth round rookies. It's not completely it's not the most uncommon thing to see fourth round rookies make an impact at the level they did. It kind of is, but it's not necessarily like a super
it's not
uncommon
unheard
thing.
of.
But to see fifth and sixth and seventh round guys, especially on the offensive line too, just be an immediate impact at starter, like an immediate impact starter. It just
That
I
doesn't
couldn't
happen
even
in
tell
the
you the last
first
time that
round a
happened.
lot. Like so many times, the first round offensive lineman will be drafted and they suck for 3 years, and then they end up
Yeah,
being all pro. It's just how it is. The offensive line is hard. You're facing grown ass men. You were at Sacramento State, bro. Just take a minute, learn the game, get bigger, get stronger, and you got a little bit of snaps. You got a little bit of experience. It's not like you got nothing. He prepared for games every week.
yeah,
He was out there working out with the team. He was in the meeting rooms. He was learning a lot from a vet. This is a good thing. We hope he can step up if Kevin Zeitler retires or he doesn't re-sign with the team. Maybe you put him in and let him compete with another, maybe more vet free agent and see where that goes from there. Be a decent backup. That's
yeah.
what you want. That's the goal.
You want a guy
Developmental
who,
backup.
yeah, you want a guy who can come in if a guy gets hurt and be able to step in and not necessarily, miss a beat with it. Obviously, you're not expecting him to be perfect, or else he would have been starting already or would have been drafted higher. But you want a guy who you can come in and say, I am okay if he has to come and play, half a game, or if he has to play a week, but not comfortable as being your starter for the entire year. And I mean, that's just kind of the expectation there, I guess. Not really a whole lot more you can say about it. He did everything you asked him to do. Didn't play a lot of snaps, like we said, and I mean, it's just okay. He's a fifth round offensive lineman. Not really a whole lot else you can say about him in this scenario. But the second pick, the sixth rounder that we're getting ready to talk about, Mr. Marcus Harris. He was the only, really, realistically, he was the only one of the three in this set of players who got meaningful snaps this year and looked pretty good in them.
Indeed. Uh, there was so many injuries to our secondary. Um, the
We
fact
saw
that it
six
wasn't
guys on the
exploited,
IL, yeah, on the IR at the end of the year. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy. It was crazy.
and he was one of them.
Yeah, he was. He was one of them. But when he was out there, cornerback is probably the hardest position physically in the NFL to play. Receivers will dice you up if like it's the most. What would you say it's the most targeted position? Like, oh shit, rookie's on the outside, throw it that way. It feels like that happens every time.
Yeah, I
Like,
think it's
oh
just it's not just a rookies too. It's just a backups in general. Like you see a backup out there, a
yeah,
guy who doesn't play.
it's
There's a reason the
exploited.
guy doesn't play. Sell juniors, get after him. That's pretty much what
Yep,
it is. It's what it is.
it's they are exploited to no end.
Oh
And the
yeah,
way Marcus Harris stepped up and played his ass off gets me freaking juices flowing, man. 4 pass breakups, 13 receptions allowed on 220 pass attempts, coverage snaps. That is, I'll take that all freaking day from a
from your
rookie. I
sixth
think
round rookie, yeah, you'll take that.
I'll take that all day, son. I mean, this was this was amazing. Like when this happened and I just saw that he was actually playing, I think he had one pressure on the QB as well. So that was fun. Um,
I think PFF had him at 2, but either way, still.
okay, either yeah, one or two. I remember one. I will be so interested to see what Salah can do with all this young talent on the defense.
Yeah,
You've got your vets within the safeties. You've got Xavier Woods and Amani Hooker. Those are your safety guys. Those are important guys. You've got Cedric Gray in the middle. You've got James Williams in the middle as well if they want to keep him and make him be a linebacker. And then you've got Marcus Harris on the outside. You got L'Jarius Sneed if he ever wants to freaking play. He might be a cut candidate. Who knows?
I can
Um,
see. Yeah, I think that's probably gonna end up happening. He just doesn't play at all. He just hurt.
Kevin Winston Jr. We have so much young potential on this team. That's why, like, when Robert Saleh was hired, I was like, at first, I was like, man, I really want an offensive guy. But then I was like, holy crap, we have so many guys that if Saleh does what he's done everywhere else he's gone, like, we're gonna have a great cheap defense.
Yeah,
Like we are. It's gonna be so inexpensive to have this many rookies be that like important to the team. It's gonna be awesome. And Marcus Harris seems to be a key part of that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's not really a whole lot more I can add on to it. I didn't get to see a whole lot of him play. Looking at his stats, I think he had 20 tackles, no missed tackles, by the way, which is not
Great.
very it's like not very often heard of from a rookie sixth round pick on the defensive side, especially with like DBs. I know sometimes DB tackling can be a little bit interesting because if you're sticky in coverage, you're going to be on a guy if he makes a catch. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid pickup from a sixth round pick. Obviously, ended the year on IR, so you just kind of going along with the theme of secondary guys getting hurt alongside guys like Kevin Winston and L'Jarius Sneed, who I think if it wasn't for the lack of depth in that corner room, he would be gone. Because you're saving money for a guy who doesn't play at all. He still might be gone, either way. But you're saving money for a guy who doesn't play at all. So we'll see what happens there. But he is probably going to end up being a key piece. Him and his Harris, he'll end up being a key piece in the secondary for at the very least next year. I could see them, especially in like the third round. I don't know specifically where D'Angelo Pons is set to go in this draft, but I can actually absolutely see him being a third round pick there for Tennessee if he's available. I could see them going with corner, and then on top of that, I'd have to look at the free agency class. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that would be a good fit corner wise. We'll have to kind of just wait and see off of that. I don't think this is particularly one of the better corner free agent classes that we've seen, so it'll depend there for depth purposes. But when you have guys like Marcus Harris and I'm just going the DB room as a whole in Kevin Winston, like you said, there's a lot of young talent on this roster that you give them a season under Robert Saleh. Like I said, I don't necessarily expect them to be an overly ambitious defense. Top 20 is kind of what I'm expecting in between that 15 and 20 range overall defense wise for this next season. But you get to 2027, you get Cam in his third year. You've got a couple of seasons to help build up this offense and get these guys developed a little bit under Saleh's system. I mean, this could absolutely. It would not shock me at all to see them be a top five defense at come 2027. Next year, I don't necessarily think that, but I do think it in 2027 could be a top 10, top 5 defense. You pair that up with Cam, the outlook's looking pretty good depending on the moves they make. But going back to Harris, a solid season from a sixth round rookie who we really didn't get to see a whole bunch of, but still got to see a good amount of. And like you said, stepped up when it mattered most and looked pretty good doing it. I think I've got him at I think, trying to think, was a good number. Like a B plus, A minus. I think
I've
I
got him
would
A
go
minus.
higher because he's a sixth round pick. He was one of the last guys picked. But yeah, I mean, it's a really good pick. I think Borgonzi in this front office did a fantastic job on day 3 picks with all those fourth round rookies we just got done talking about. On top of that, with finding a guy like Marcus Harris who's able to step up and could be a solid piece in this cornerback room. Do you want him starting? We'll see once he gets a full season under his belt and you've got like a full season's worth of tape and you see kind of how offenses attack him in the secondary. But it's not a bad start. Not a bad start for him, and hard to be upset with what he's put on tape, with what he's put in the box score, and just hard to be upset with it from a sixth round rookie.
Indeed. Yeah, like the reason I wrote this down, but this applies to the whole draft pretty much so far. Is like these picks are what give you hope uh, for like the future
Yeah.
and who's running this organization. Stack these together, you're going to be here for a long time, brother. You get like 2 or 3 good drafts in a row, you're here for as long as you want to be. You can live off that for a long. John Robinson did it for a long time. He lived up those 2 first drafts for a long time.
Yeah, and I think
It's
these 2 drafts are going to be really good for that. Picking in the 4th, I know I've seen a bunch of people mock David Bailey or Ruben Bain or Arvell Reese to the Titans to have a premier edge rusher to pair with somebody like Jeffrey Simmons.
yes,
I wouldn't be
yes.
mad with Sonny Styles. He's a 6'5" linebacker, like true off-ball linebacker. Wouldn't be mad at that with Robert Saleh coaching him up. And then, look towards the second round. I would say they're probably going to go heavy defense in this draft. But we'll end up seeing. Moving on to this final rookie here, Kyle Mullings.
Named after Superman.
That's exactly. I'm sure that's what his parents were thinking, wholeheartedly.
That is it.
That's awesome, dude. That's so sick. That's so. Well, he didn't play like Superman this year. 7th round.
No, he
rookie.
did not.
I think 3 carries for 7 yards. Played a lot of special team snaps. That's how you make a career in the NFL as a late day 3 pick. He's technically a 6th round pick, I think, but I think he was fringe 6th round.
Yeah, he's 6th, pick 188. So.
Yeah, that's how you make a career in the NFL. You play special teams. I think he had 3 or 4 tackles on it, so making kind of an impact special teams wise. But I mean, not really a whole lot to say about him. Didn't obviously inspire a whole lot running the football. Didn't get a whole lot of carries even with Tony Pollard hurt. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Just it was a late or fringe 6th round pick that played a lot of special teams. Hard to grade that as just
pretty much
as a whole.
This is he's a converted linebacker. Used to be a linebacker, converted to running back in college for Michigan. He's a downhill runner. He was brought in for one play. Short yardage, run as hard and fast as you can at that guy's ass and see if you can get it.
Pause.
Whoa. Which, I mean, since he was hurt, he wasn't able to showcase that nearly as much. We'll see about next year. This is, again, an undetermined grade, but was a part of the turnaround for our special teams.
Yeah.
He definitely was a part of it. So I know he was mainly drafted with the idea to help out on special teams, be an athlete that can also be a dual purpose. His purpose was to be drafted, so we had a power back. Go in, short yardage situation, do that. And then any other time you're on the field, it's going to be running at that guy as fast as you can, So and block. He's a big dude, linebacker. He can help block, and I'm sure he contributed on some of DK's returns.
Oh yeah,
big body, strong. So we'll see if his running game develops a little more. This is probably the least impactful pick that Borgonzi had, and you know what? Sue him. It was in the 6th round at pick 188. Sue him. It's gonna happen.
Or Jackson, or Slater, because he barely played at all. So
yeah, you're right. I think it has to be Mullings. No, it has to be Jackson Slater because he only played like 30 snaps.
Just didn't play a whole lot. At the very least, Mullings, he played a bunch on special teams, and was not a liability. It's not like you heard his name a bunch. He missed his gap on kick return and gave up a huge return, or he shit the bed blocking for DK and got his head taken off, or anything.
Yeah.
He wasn't. No, you never really heard his name, and that's not a bad thing whenever you're playing special teams. But yeah, I'm with you.
Hey, just as a note, real quick before we continue, I want you to think about this as you keep speaking. Let's do an overall grade for Borgonzi with this draft.
With this draft, okay. I have to think about that for a second. I like the piece those top 100 picks kind of hurt me on this draft because I know Kevin Winston was a really good whenever he was on the field, but with Femi, there were some better options I think on the table at that point. That kind of hurts it.
Emanwari was there. Luther Burden was there.
Yeah.
If honestly, the Seahawks traded up with us, and if you look at those 8 picks, they're all really high quality starters. So it sucks. I do agree with that.
It's that's kind of the one part of this draft where you look at it and it's that's the one blemish, and it's a decent size. But like you said, I think getting Luther Burden would have definitely been a big help to Cam Ward and be able to have that guy who can potentially develop into a true X wide receiver 1. But I think as a whole, I think I'm giving this draft a B+, just based off of Cam Ward, the growth that he showed throughout the season and kind of that, giving Titans fans exactly what they wanted to see. I feel like out of your young quarterback, which is a guy who can lead your franchise for years to come. That fourth round draft cycle was, I mean, we talked about it. It was arguably just about as good as taking Cam, with all three of those guys being
Yep.
major impacts on the offense. And then obviously here finding Marcus Harris in the sixth round and him playing, good snaps, like him playing good in key snaps when he, wasn't hurt, which of course six guys, six DBs on the injured reserve whenever the season had ended. So I give it a B plus. I thought it was a really good draft. It's a really good baseline to kind of start with this whole rebuilding process. Now you have this draft coming up where you're going to have a good pick, and depending on what happens next year, I wouldn't be mad if they decided to trade up to go get Jeremiah Smith as a true wide receiver one, because he's probably going to go first, second, or third overall. This just kind of depends on who else picking first and who kind of decides to, if they decide to take quarterback or go with the best player available, and you're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody better than Jeremiah Smith. But I like this draft.
Yeah, I love this draft. I gave it an A. I realize those first 2 days can be a little tough as Titans fans to take the pill that we could have got one of those elite players. But here's the thing. Borgonzi wanted to set a culture. If you look at every single one of these guys, any Titans fan, if you have not gone and watched the video on the official Titans YouTube channel where they get the reactions, like, they're in the front office and they're like, "Hey, Alec, how you doing?" And Alec is in his room by himself crying. He's all alone. He's by himself crying. Like, these guys wanted it. These guys are culture guys. They're glue guys. This is the baseline. This is the baseline for all future teams and players who join us to look at.
Yeah.
He drafted these guys based on production and, more importantly, culture. These are good people who want to win. Luther Burden I realize Luther Burden ended up not being quite as big of an issue as some of the pre-draft stuff was saying.
Well, yeah, and guys never generally are. Like they
of course.
That gets. I don't even know why GMs even get deterred by it if they do at all. I have no idea for that. It never seems like a big deal, and nothing generally ever happens with those guys.
Of course. Yeah, they're there. They're just happy. They're frustrated. They're in college. It's a big deal for them. It's an emotional time, of course. But if you are someone that does pay attention to that, like 90% of 95% of GMs who don't have an established Super Bowl winning team, like the Eagles can get away with it. The Eagles will draft criminals, just straight criminals, and because they win, they'll just kind of get into it. But
I'm referring to the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah,
all
the Georgia Bulldogs.
Ignore speed limits and DUI rules, Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, they're drafting just straight up criminals over there. But guess what? They're the Eagles. They have a great winning culture. Now, you can see the cracks. There's a lot of stuff going on over there where it's not as desirable as Eagles fans once thought.
Yeah, I think it's Sirianni hiring his buddy is kind of like Mike Vrabel, and it turns out it's not that great of an idea.
Yeah, you can be a great coach, but you get a little ahead of yourself hiring, and luck runs out. But Borgonzi doesn't want that. Borgonzi knows that Robert Saleh could come in here and be horrible, which he's not. I know he's not. But you have to have guys that on their own want to win and care and are good people in general. So I give it an A because this is the foundation. This is the start, Titans fans. We're going to get there. This is it. This is the the launch pad into hopefully future success. And I've never had more confidence in Borgonzi than this season. It was really funny. There was a preseason presser where Chad Brinker, the president of operations or whatever, and Mike Borgonzi were both doing a presser, and they were asked the question, can this team win the Super Bowl? And they both laughed out loud. They burst out in laughter. And they're like, yeah, we try. We try to put a team out there. That's the goal every year. But you can tell they're not dumb. They're not
Yeah.
going out there. Rand Carthon seemed like a great dude too, but he put a lot of resources into things that were just very flashy. I loved it as a fan, but when you step back and you learn from those moments as a fan, you're like, wow, that was just
Stupid.
just straight up
That was just
dumb.
stupid.
Yeah, that was just awful. Uh, so yeah, those are my thoughts. I give it an A.
I like that. And I get it. I think it's can really go anywhere from B plus to an A rating, just because, like you said, it's a foundation. It's a culture thing. You set the foundation for what you want to see from these draft classes, and now heading into 2020, this upcoming draft to 2026 and 2027, which is going to be, I think, the most important one, because that's going to be, if you are picking in the top 10 again, which I think you kind of expect. Yeah, I think you have to expect it, to be honest with you, because if we're sitting here looking, and Ethan is gone, if you're sitting here looking at this draft as a whole, there's a lot of high impact players on the defensive side, but that's not necessarily where Tennessee needs help for the most part. They need a lot of help on the offensive side and bring in more offensive talent. I'm so glad that you left, by the way, leaving me here hanging. I get it. I get it. You hate me, but like, you can make it a little less obvious, bro.
Sorry about that. Had to take care of something.
There's a cat in the background. You can hear me out.
Yeah, she's in heat, so she's screaming. It's awesome.
That sounds great, dude. Is it Peanut?
Yeah.
How much is it even to get her fixed? I can't.
It's there's neuter shelters that are super cheap. So
There you go.
also, let me test something out here. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
You just let one rip?
No, I'm in my underwear and I realized I got up and I didn't know if that was pointed at my wee wee or not. So I didn't know if you guys could see it.
I might have seen it in editing.
We need to edit this out, by the way.
Okay. Well, either way, going back to what I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted,
Sorry,
I get
gang.
it. I understand why, in A, this is a really good foundation of a draft class for the Titans. It, like you said, brings culture. It brings a culture in, which you're also going to get with Robert Saleh. You're also going to get with Brian Daboll. And I think it's setting up the Titans for the future. And for this year's draft, whether it is, Ruben Bain or Sonny Styles or David Bailey or, Arvell Reese, whoever that first pick is, and then going down, and which what I think is the most important draft class is that 2027 class, because this team still feels fairly devoid of offensive talent still. I don't know what you're thinking on that. It's just there's not a whole lot of just like true firepower. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no superstars on this team. That doesn't mean some of these guys can't do that. And we're not really counting Cam in this situation, because Cam isn't necessarily a problem here. It's the skill guys. It's Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears and no offense to the fourth round guys, we just got done, glazing them pretty much, saying how great they were doing this season. But Chimray and Gunnar Helm and Alec Iamander, those guys, solid producers, but it's not the same amount of talent you're going to get from that 2027 class, where you could get a Jeremiah Smith, a Ryan Williams if he decides to declare. I know he's had his drop problems, didn't really look all that great this past year, but you can't deny the talent that he has, especially after the catch. He's unbelievable. Got to catch the ball, though. And then Cam Coleman, who outside of Jeremiah Smith is my favorite, because I think he can truly develop into being an all-around great wide receiver. I wish OU had got him. For those that don't know, I went to University of Oklahoma. I wish OU had got him. Of course, he went to Texas, so screw them. But either way, it's a really good wide receiver class for next year at the top end of it. And if the Titans do pick in the top 5, top 10 again, which I think you can sort of expect from this team coming in next year, just because, like I said, that talent isn't necessarily where you want it to be at on both sides of the ball. Defensively, they're a little further ahead, and you're going to expect them to be a little further ahead, especially with a guy like Robert Saleh coming in and coaching up this defense, and coaching up the linebackers especially, but coaching up the whole defense, being the head coach of the defense, obviously with the title as well. But you expect this defense to be further ahead, but you get the offensive talent in free agency over the next couple of years, potentially in the second round this year with guys like Jeremy Bernard and Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt, potentially a Chris Brazzell as well. And then you go to next year, sitting in the top 10 potentially, you get a pretty good look at one of those three guys I just mentioned, and Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, and Cam Coleman. And yeah, those two, you put together a couple of good free agency classes. This could be a team that you could see in the playoffs here by the 2020, 2027, 2028 season. It will not take super duper long if Robert Saleh is legit as a head coach. If Brian Daboll for whatever reason, if the offense is successful this year, sticks around another season, and if these free agency and draft class for 2026 can figure something out to where you build in some more of those glue guys to get those superstar talents. Like I said, it would not shock me at all to see my light just died. It would not shock me at all to see the Titans in the playoffs in 2027. So that's what you kind of have to look forward to.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Now,
I'm so excited for that.
This could be,
I'll take off my hat as
well. This draft, of course, after free agency, which will be so much fun. We're gonna get in all that stuff, key free agents that we should want to get, and we're gonna do all that stuff for you guys. Love this time of year. Now, for the next month or so, it's gonna be pretty boring. But we'll come up with fun stuff to do. We'll see. I think the real question is, if Robert Saleh is calling the plays, and let's just be real, the Jets defense, because we looked it up when we were doing.
In year one, it was not good at all, but in year two, it was pretty good, right?
Yeah, the talent was. I mean, because I think that's when the Sauce Gardner draft was, that year two. I think
that was his first full off season. I think.
Yeah.
He had already been a year with the team. I guess second off season, but either way.
So we have a lot more talent than that, especially in the defensive line room. If our team can stay healthy, we have a lot of young pieces. And since he's calling plays, I do suspect that we will be better than 32nd in the league at defense, at least.
Yeah.
That would be tough because we weren't 32nd last year. So if we had, a really nice edge defender or something like that, that would be fantastic. Ruben Bain is my guy. He's a freaking animal. I think he seems like a nice dude. Seems like a guy who cares. Just wants to win games. He looks like a 35-year-old man. Get him on my team right now.
Yeah. I think you're totally right.
He does. If you haven't seen what he looks like, guys, look up a picture of Ruben Bain Jr.
He's huge.
His head is nuts.
His head. Crazy. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Jeez. I think this is going to be a really important draft, really important free agency, because this is kind of where you continue to build on that foundation. You start to add more talent across the roster. I don't think you're necessarily overly worried about, drafting certain positions of need, but you're drafting more best player available in this draft. And so,
yeah, floor raisers.
Exactly. And, like you said, they're not going to be 32nd in defense. They'll probably be a top 20, top 15 defense this next season. And if Brian Daboll can, lift this offense up into a, upper half of the league, top 20 or top 20 offense, they'll be looking good towards it. And then obviously, like I said, the 2027 draft is going to be such a crucial one for the Titans. So,
of course.
Alrighty, so now that that's done, we're through rating the rookies. We're through with rating the entire draft class. If you want to check out all the other two episodes, you got to go back onto the YouTube channel, Two Tone Report, or on Spotify as well. We're also on there, so if you want to listen on the road, it's also an option for you guys. But Super Bowl is this Sunday. We're recording this the Sunday before. It's going to go live on Friday. Super Bowl is this Sunday. Patriots, Seahawks. I know we all remember the infamous Malcolm Butler play, just from, I would say a couple years ago, but we're unk in this scenario. So It's been, I think, a decade since that Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Right?
Malcolm Butler, after that, played another year for the Patriots, another 2 years, then played for the Titans for 4 years,
Yeah.
and then went to the Cardinals, and then he retired in that amount of time, by the way. So it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. We're turning into Unk in this scenario, but
Unk status.
yeah, both of these teams look a lot different than when they did the last time they made the Super Bowl. Obviously, we're talking about the Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson with the Seahawks, and then obviously Tom Brady and Gronk and this infamous Patriot defense. But now it's a little bit different. Ethan, I think we've already kind of spoken our piece on it a little bit, but who do you think's gonna win?
I think the Seahawks are going to win. I think the Seahawks are going to win because okay, there is a caveat. Clint Kubiak got hired by the Oakland Raiders. Now,
Las Vegas Raiders. Excuse me.
Whatever.
Idiot.
Sorry, Oakland. Didn't mean to bring that back up for you.
Those poor Raider fans.
But
Riot.
whenever a coordinator is usually hired away, there's a thing in their head that they can't quite lock in. Like Ben Johnson last year with the Lions. There's something that it's just like an air about him. Now that is a caveat. If the offense seems off, I believe that's probably why. But I don't think it is.
I don't think that's going to be the case for the Super Bowl.
No.
If it was like a wild card or a divisional round game, then like yeah, I'd get it. But the Super
it is
Bowl,
different. You lock in a little bit more.
I don't think that's going to happen there.
True, I agree. But that is a trend. That is something that does happen. I think JSN is going to have a crazy game. I think Sam Darnold may succumb to a little pressure. I think he's not going to have the greatest day, but I think he is well and above the standard for a quarterback that can win a Super Bowl. Yeah. Drake May's been playing bad football.
He's not been very good at all.
The Patriots have not been playing good enough to win a Super Bowl, and I feel like the Seahawks went through a gauntlet. I feel like they went through some tough games to get to this moment. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the Seahawks. It's not like I don't want Vrabel to win, but I don't because it's the Patriots. Yeah, I think Vrabel's a great dude.
I don't want him to do.
I don't want Vrabel to win because I think it's more because I don't think the Patriots deserve it. I don't think the Patriots deserve to win.
We talked about this where looking at their regular season, they played 3 teams with a winning record, and they went 1-2 in those games. And in the playoffs, I love how you mentioned Drake May played like shit. He has played like shit throughout this entire playoffs. You can kind of excuse this last game because of the snow and stuff like that, but the other two, and I understand all the Patriots fans are sitting here saying, "Oh, they played top 3, top 5 defenses," and it doesn't mean you played good offensively. You played like shit. And you got bailed out because the Chargers had a decimated offensive line. I think they basically walked out a fucking traffic cone and a turnstile over there at tackles. The Texans feels like mentally challenged. C.J. Stroud playing
giving the
quarterback.
ball to him.
4 or 5 turnovers in the first half of that game, and they still had a chance to win it because Jake May was playing like shit the whole time, and this offense was been playing terrible this entire postseason. Even in the first half against the Broncos, if it wasn't for a freak play by a backup quarterback, the Patriots don't even score a touchdown in the game. They're not even close to sniffing it. So to see, and that was when the weather was fine in Denver. That was before all the shit poured in. So
I'm sure it was cold, but they're from New England. That's kind of their whole mantra.
January football in Colorado. Of course, it's going to be cold. But that being said, this, as far as we know, obviously heading into Super Bowl week here, we're going to get injury reports and stuff like that. This Seahawks team is about as healthy as you can be offensively. No major injuries as far as I can guess right now. I know Sam Darnold had like the oblique thing. That was happening with, I think that was the week of the Rams. It was the week of the 49ers, and they went just torched them. But
poured all that up, son.
Yeah, it's like no major injuries for the Seahawks offensively, and this is by far the best offense the Patriots are going to face. And that's not saying that this defense for New England's going to get, thrown around and, torched here for 60 minutes, but they're going to put up more than 10 points. They're going to put up more than what the Chargers, like, they're going to put up more than 3 points. They're going to put up more than 7 points. They're going to put up more than whatever the Texans did. It's going to,
like, the way I think about it is the Rams are a better team than the Patriots, and like I wouldn't even think it's close. Like I like 10 out of 10 times I'd pick the Rams this year, and they beat the Rams and they're in the Super Bowl. I feel like unless something just got like the devil comes up himself, which it's the Patriots, so that's always he's
Robert
the
Kraft.
biggest fan. They'll sacrifice some babies or something, but
it feels like it just felt like that NFC Championship was the de facto Super Bowl. Like whoever won that game is going to win the Super Bowl. And it's funny. I was on the phone with my girlfriend, and she's staying with my brother and his girlfriend, puppy sitting, and my brother's girlfriend, she's a huge Patriots fan. She grew up in her family grew up in the New England area, the Boston area. And she was on the phone. I heard her say to, I think it was her mom and her grandma, like, you guys aren't allowed to go to any more Super Bowls. That is the most privileged fucking thing I think I have ever heard of in my life. You aren't allowed to go to any more Super Bowls. That's the most wild thing
you guys have gone to too many.
That's the most wild thing I've heard. Because I guess what she said was, like, whenever they played the Giants, they had, like, the 2 times they lost in the Super Bowl, I guess. I think she went to her family parent went to the Giants one when they lost the undefeated season. So
good.
She's like, you aren't allowed to go to any more Super Bowls, and I'm like, that's the most privileged thing I think I've ever heard of in my life.
The only one the Titans ever went to, I wasn't born, and we lost by 1 yard. Well,
I wasn't alive the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game, so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement. Seahawks. I would be surprised if this game was close. I think this will be reminiscent of last year's Super Bowl where the Chiefs got – I'm not going to say they got lucky, but they got lucky getting to the Super Bowl and then got their teeth kicked in for 4 quarters against the Eagles. It's going to be the same thing here. The Patriots got lucky getting to the Super Bowl, and the Seahawks are going to kick their teeth in for 4 quarters. I would be surprised if it was any less than a three-score game at the end of it.
I would want nothing more than that because the Seahawks are probably my second favorite team in the NFL. It is the largest, biggest jump you can have. But I love Seattle. Been there. It's a beautiful city. As a kid, my dad got me a Seattle shirt when he went traveling there. So I just like the art and stuff like that. I love the Seahawks. I think they're a really cool team. Gritty. I wanted Mike McDonald so bad to be our head coach. So there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, I'm all in for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I like I said, I'd be surprised if it was any less than a 3-score game. That is it for this episode 7. We're almost at double digits. We'll be back with you Monday for the reaction of the Super Bowl. Plus, I've been to some more Titans stuff as well. Hopefully we'll have some more updates on uniforms, stadium construction, things along that nature, and could come out with you with some off-season content with the off-season officially starting once the Super Bowl ends on Sunday and heading into Monday. But Ethan, any parting thoughts?
Yeah, if any news pops up, we'll try to do an emergency podcast. We'll try to get it up that day. If something comes out, like some uniform announcements happen, stuff like that, as he said, we'll try to get it out to you. But thanks, guys, for watching. Stick around. We always like seeing comments and stuff.
Yeah, more support the better. Like I said, on YouTube, Two Tone Report. It's also on Spotify as well. Working on getting it out to some other platforms as well. But for Ethan Jacobs, I'm Ryan Smith. This is the Two Tone Report. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again here in the near future.